Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the 212A, the Tier 9 Soviet SPG. This one's located on the north spawn of Abbey, and it's under the command of Oxagon. And alongside him is Soul Collector in his RU251. And they've also got another player, Tranzo, I think that's it, or is it Tranzi? And he's in a Waffenträger auf Panzer IV. Game on. Well, it looks like, oh, bit of a get together there. Looks like Soul Collector's going to do some quick spotting down the lake road, and Chansey is actually going to try and pick off the enemies that he spots. Meanwhile, Oxagon's decided he's going to stay over this side of the map, and he's got a target already at strip 1030, and he can certainly upset that guy by putting a round right on top of him. Instead, he's going for the Waffenträger auf Panzer IV on the enemy team. That is a prime target with no armor at all, and he penetrated him. 942 hit points. Now it's 900 alpha, so he got a high roll on that one, and he's backing off just a little bit. Okay, he's gone back to the strip this time, so it looks like he's trying to hit as many enemies as he can. The Waffenträger's gone into cover. He obviously knows now he doesn't want to lose any more hit points if he can. Oh, going for him again. And he's out the game. 2 penetrating shots in a row. We know that's a penetrating shot because it's 900 alpha, and half of that would be 450. And he actually got 658 off that last shot. So it's more than a non-penetrating round. It has to be a penetrating round. Okay, we saw an enemy stand at B just in that spot there, but instead we're looking to try and land a shell on the Chart Future for another tank with very low hit points. Except the standard B's come into view again. Rounds out. No, it wasn't fully dialed in. That was unfortunate. He swapped between the two tanks. I think he probably would have been better off staying with the Chart Future 4. Standard B's decided to get out of that spot because it's just too unsafe for him. I think he probably knew that there was a Guerrilla 15 nearby. Might have actually received fire from him, and that's why he decided to get out. Meanwhile, we're looking for the Standard B, and we found him. Rounds out. Oh! Now that's interesting. I think that shot actually came from Soul Collector, but he stunned him. And another shot went in from Tranny, or from his teammate Tranzi. Okay, looking at the other side, you can see here actually this position gives you a great angle on the enemies who are hiding on this corner. He's almost loaded. He's going to go for the E100. Rounds out. Another direct hit, and he stunned a whole load of those enemies there. Now, we did lose one of our tanks in A phase 1, but we're going to go for another shot on these tanks, because once they're together like that, they make prime candidates. We can put a shell on more than one at the same time. Rounds out. Another direct hit on the E100. Both tanks get stunned. Oh, that was a big one there. 820. That's a lot of stun assists from just one shot. I think that was the 60 TP, just scored a high roll. And one of the enemy's A phase 1s has gone down this time. Rounds out the 100. They managed to hug the rock just close enough to avoid the shell, but they have picked up some stun assists. And the way it's going at the moment, with 3,000 stun assists and 2,000 damage, it looks like Oxagon's on for an ace tanker. Another enemy tank bites the dust, this time in the E100, and the enemy are pulling back from the second channel, the far west channel, to try and defend this one. And the E100 could go. He has gone. We didn't get the kill, but the Concept 1B did take a hit. Used his first aid kit very quickly though to get rid of the stun. in the meantime, we've got another tank actually in the center of the map, and Transy and Soul Collector are working on that one. Transy just killed the AMX 1390. Rounds out the T10. Unfortunately, he moved sufficiently to get away. I think that Concept 1B and the oh well, they just lost their Standard B to Soul Collector, so it looks like we've managed to conquer the east side of the center of the map, and now our tanks are streaming for the cap area. That's where the Strib 103B went to, and he's just got wiped out by Transy with one very nice little sniping shot. In the meantime, we're looking down at this corner because there's a Waffenträger auf Panzer 4. No, Waffenträger E100 rather. Waffenträger auf E100. He did take some damage. That was one of our guys. That was Soul Collector. Soul Collector in his RU251 is almost out of hit points, but the enemy team are almost falling apart now, and they've just lost their T10. And this game's going to end very shortly because there's only 3 enemies left. They're all in the same area. We're lining up a shot on the Concept 1B, who's trying to get through this gap, and well, he gets stopped. The Chieftain goes down. Leaves just the Concept 1B and their Arty, which is an M53, M55, and he can't be that far away. He isn't. He's actually on the corner. And it's all about to end. We might get one shot if we're lucky. The M53, M55, I think he's fired his round. He's blown his load, but he's not even trying to ram, which is a pity. And we get some more splash on the Concept. And that is the end of the game. Here's the results to the end of the first battle, and it was an ace tanker for Oxagon in the 212A. How did I guess that? Well, it had to do with the amount of damage he was doing and the stun assist. He also got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9, and no other medals. Let's have a look at team score. Well, when we come to damage, we can see he didn't get the highest damage in the game. The highest damage actually went to the Concept 1B on the enemy team with 3,706. The second highest damage was the Conqueror on our team with 3,579. And the third highest damage went to our 60 TP, who managed 3,245. We can see that Oxagon got the next highest with 3,214, and Transy got the next one after that with 3,142. And where is, just looking down the list, I'm looking for that RU251. Where are you? Come in, number RU251. We can't see him. There he is. I think that's it. Soul Collector, 1,356, but he seemed to be just about everywhere. Let's have a look at the number of kills then. Well, the highest number of kills actually also went to the Concept 1B. Got 5 kills in that game. Didn't pick up a high caliber or anything else because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. But he got the highest number of kills. The second highest was Kunstpanzer, the Waffenträger of Transy, the Conqueror, and also the 50 TP. I'm afraid Oxagon only got the 1 kill, and so did Soul Collector. He only got 1. But when it came to base XP, we can see that the highest scorer was the Conqueror with 1,148. 1,129 went to Oxagon. So those are the only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000, with Soul Collector getting a very high score of 924. He was in 3rd place on base XP. So despite the fact that he didn't get a huge number of hit points of actual damage, he did score a lot of spotting, 3,460 of spotting in that game. So really effective. He was doing his job exceptionally well and enabled other players to get the hits on the enemy. In fact, actually, I think we can say that Transy did benefit from Soul Collector's spotting, and that's how he managed to get such a high score with 2 kills in it. Anyway, we can see that Transy in that game only got 812, but it was in the Waffenträger auf Panzer 4, tier 9, but he was benefiting from Soul Collector's work. So let's have a look at the detail. 12 shots fired, 5 direct hits, 2 penetrations, 13 splash, damage of 3,214 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. The 2 pens were, of course, the Waffenträger auf Panzervier, right through his armor. They've got virtually no armor whatsoever, those tanks, so they're very easy kills for Arty. Always a good shot if it's worth it, if it's available. 6 enemy vehicles were damaged, 1 was killed, 3,603 hit points of stun assist off 13 stuns. He earned 43,145 credits to the game, 19,415 from battle payments, 90,605 credits altogether, and after resupply of ammunition and consumables, he still made a profit of 47,685 credits, 1,129 XP, 3,388 from personal missions payout, and 254 for playing in the big platoon, and he took away 5,336 experience points altogether. So the first game is quite a decent one, you should say. A nice little ace tanker, no other medals, but he really didn't need them. He was actually performing. This is the armor for the 212A. It is based on the KV220 hull, so it's a tier 7 hull in a sense, even though the KV220 is only a tier 5. As you know, the KV220 hull was the precursor to the KV3, and so therefore it had heavier armor than the KV1, quite a bit heavier armor actually, and this is reflected in these figures. Look at that, drive area is 60mm thick. At the front here, 60mm. The frontal armor, 75mm, 60mm. You can see with the effective armor as well, it shoots up. Then we've got the armor around the casement, or the citadel as you might call, 60mm thick, even though it's slab-sided, which of course gives the crew plenty of room on the inside. It's 60mm all the way around, so it's actually a very heavy Arty in many senses of the word. The actual weight of the vehicle is 57 tons, so yes, it is quite a heavy one, and there's lots of armor there. If you can actually see that in the live model, it says red, so it's saying it's good protection against the artillery rounds, because they're going to have difficulty trying to pen it because it's so heavy. Let's have a quick look at the modules. Okay, driver's up front, but there's no driver's mate with him. He's all alone, and probably with a communication tube or a radio. Not a radio, a wire connecting him to the inside of the citadel. He's got the transmission directly in front of him. He's got the engine behind him, so he should be nice and warm and snug when it's cold weather. Unfortunately, this Arty never got built, so we never got to find that out. The fuel is right in the centre of the vehicle. As you can see, 2 big fuel tanks, not surrounding the engine, but actually in the centre of the vehicle. So if you auto aim on this thing, you're more than likely going to put a shell into the fuel tank. There's big ammo racks at the back, huge ones there, both on slab-sided on the actual wall of the citadel, and inside you can see the 2 loaders in between the 2 ammo racks, and there's also ones down in the floor of the vehicle as well. We've got 1 tank commander here on this side of the vehicle, and the gunner on the right hand side of the vehicle, and the radio operator is actually behind the tank commander. Very odd. Normally we'd have the radio operator up front, but then I suppose he wants to be close, or they wanted him to be close to the tank commander to take the orders for the fire missions. Anyway, that's where everything is in the 212A. So we got a second replay for you. Yes, Oxagon sends in 2 at a time sometimes, and he has sent some rather interesting ones in. So let's go ahead to the very next battle. The second replay is on the Steppes map, North Spawn, and this time round Oxagon's on his own. Soul Collector and Transy are no longer with him. 28.65 seconds on the reload. Standard reload 37.39 seconds. He's got the 8-inch howitzer, or rather the 203mm B4 howitzer. It's capable of 900 alpha, 52mm of pen. Top speed of this vehicle is only 35 km an hour, but as I mentioned, it's a heavy vehicle. 57.5 tons. It's basically a heavy tank, and it's not a good idea for the enemy to ram this thing. Okay, he's picked to stay behind that rock, because that will give him shots down the east side of the map, and he might be able to hit those enemy tanks when they pop up. Instead, a standard B's turned up in the center in a very, very dangerous place, because if he stays there, he's going to take a 203mm right in the side. I think that's about right. He decides not to shoot because he lost sight of the target. Now, the good thing about this Arty is you do get a lot of ammo. You get 40 rounds in total, so you can keep firing away. Oh, we got a direct hit straight off on the Superconch. Straight away. Now, it's funnily enough, it's not showing any stun assist from that shot, and I think that may be because the Superconch actually used his first aid kit straight away to clear the stun, so there was nothing that he could actually claim there. A very difficult shot on the M6Y, rounds out, long range, hits the other side of the rock, but does stun the enemy. Okay, that's standard B. He did move up by one rock, at least I think he did. He's moved up from the previous rock, which was actually at F6. Okay, good target here, an E100 alongside a 705, rounds out, and it smacks the rear of the E100 with some splash, but it doesn't actually catch the 705. We did pick up some stun assist though, because the E100 crossed the gap and he got hit while he was moving and he was still stunned. So going for the 705, rounds out. We thought he'd move forward, but the shell went long and we got a hit. 329. Non-penetrating shot. Meanwhile, our guys have actually moved down the east side of the map, and now we're trying to get a shot on that standard B. If we were in a position behind the railway line, I think we'd be worried right now, but that standard B is now being attacked by our standard B and they're exchanging shells. If we can put a round in there, that standard B on the enemy team is going to be dead. Rounds out. Yes, he is. Our standard B died before the enemy one, but I'm sure he'd be very happy to see that the enemy standard B didn't last very long. A 203mm round will go straight through the side of a standard B because it's fairly thin armour. Not sure if the enemy realises that they've actually been compromised over the other side of the map, but if they do realise, they're probably worrying at the moment. That was a long range shot, but sadly it went too long and we missed the IS-32. Now there's only two tanks left on our side of on the west side of the map rather. The AMX M454 and there's an Object 430. The T-55's turned up behind the rock. There he is. We put a round into him. Rounds out. This should be fun. Yep, got him. But the enemy's trying to outflank him, and it looks like they've succeeded, and we got stalled on this side of the map, so now Oxagon's having to focus his attention on the other side. So we've still got two tanks over there. That M454 is taking a lot of damage. The 55A's turned up on that corner. It's a difficult shot, but he's fully dialed in. Rounds out. Direct hit! Only 8 hit points left, and yes, he does go down immediately afterwards. So he's out of the game, and it looks like the enemy 907 is actually headed over here. So we're going to have to change spots. The 907 gets wiped out. We're going to change and see if we can get better shots on the enemy. Got a tortoise coming up here. He's chasing that Object 430. The 430 is not too keen to go around the corner. But he is now, because look at this. Two tanks coming around at the same time. Rounds out. Oh, and a double hit there. Object 705 and the Tortoise both got hit, but unfortunately that Tortoise managed to kill our 430. So we're 3 down on the enemy at the moment. They've got tanks headed up towards the railway line. Looks like they're going to try and get at our CS-59. Plus we've got a couple of tanks coming back, an M454 and a Leopard prototype. Oh, stop the M48 in his tracks. This is where the reload time of the 212A really comes into its own, because it does fire a lot faster than the other Arty, so it is quick. At 705's hiding behind the house. He knows that he's safe there. He can be splashed, but he's much better off there. Rounds out the Tortoise. He does get a hit. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it does damage him. We're just holding the enemy at bay down in the south. Yeah, that M46 is almost daring us to fire. We're loaded. Rounds out straight away. Oh, yes. He unfortunately got a bit of a reticule lock there. Not reticule lock, but he actually suddenly found that he was aiming at a different point. And it hit the rock face just as he fired. It was... this is what happens, actually. If you lose sight of a target, you can suddenly find you're aiming at a completely different spot altogether. Okay, we're loaded, ready to go. E100's the target. Rounds out. Direct hit. 387. Our CS-59 is being put under a lot of pressure, and he doesn't really have much help at the moment other than Oxagon. Meanwhile, the E100's still on his way up there. He's determined to get to him, but he's going to get another hit. Oxagon's going to put another round into him. That was the enemy Arty. Rounds out the E100. Yes, another hit. Makes him a one shot now for the CS-59. The enemy Arty, by the way, is an M53, M55. CS-59 trying to side scrape to get shots on the E100 without taking damage. Oh! The CS-59 gets wiped out by the enemy Arty. And the E100 gets taken out by the Leopard prototype. So now it's 11 all. So they've managed to balance it out now. I would say we do have an advantage because we're 2,000 hit points up on the enemy. We also have one big heavy tank, the AMX M454, and a Super Conqueror. Whereas the enemy, well, all they've got really on the heavy side is a T-30, which is technically it's a tank destroyer, but it also forms part of a series of heavy tanks. Has very light armor on the hull, but a very good gun. The T-30's just blasted his load. Here we go, round out. Yes, that's the end of you. Yep. One right up his rear. He's out the game. And now we have an advantage. There is an enemy tank coming this way, and it's a Skoda T-50. Oxagon's tried to turn to get a shot. He's protected by the AMX M454. And of course our Super Conqueror. And our Leopard's coming in from a different direction. The Skoda's trying to escape now. He's trying to get away. He could take a round, and he's gone. The AMX M454 takes the honours. And that means now the Tortoise is to the west of us, and he's the next big threat. The Leopard's trying to find the enemy Arty as quickly as he can, and he's found him. Yeah, he's trying to escape, and Oxagon's dialing in, trying to slow him down. Rounds out. He managed to avoid that one. So, only one enemy left. It's the tortoise. I expect the Leopard prototype will try and come in behind him. The Super Conqueror is very low on juice. He's headed for the cap to make certain of the win. Whilst the MX-M454 is headed directly in the enemy tank's direction. Somebody was saying the other day actually about that battle in the 105 FH18B2 that was played by Targi. He said he would rather accept the win by cap than try and go after the enemy tank, the last enemy, and get that extra amount of XP. I can understand that. A win is a win. Can't take that away. Rams out. Looks good. That probably splashed the tortoise. Yep, Super Conqueror is capping to make absolutely certain of the battle. Tortoise is never going to get back in time to reset. And Oxagon will get one last shot on target. Can he get the kill? Let's see. Rounds out. Yes, he does! He gets the kill. Takes the honours. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was a first-class tanker for Oxagon in the 212A. Not as good as the last one. That was an ace tanker, but this one's a first class. He got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 13. And he got a Gauze medal this time round for doing more damage, exceeding 10 times, or it's actually 8 times the difference, 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle in damage. He also, well, yep, only got 3 kills. He could have got the Brothers in Arms, but he didn't actually get it at the end because he could have platooned with the Leopard prototype. Let's have a look at team score. Well, we can see the highest damage in the game actually went to the Leopard prototype with 4,282. Second highest damage went to the MX-M454, who managed to get 3,986. And then we got Oxagon, third place with 3,756. When it came to kills, it was the Leopard prototype. He got 4 kills in that game. 3 kills went to Oxagon and also to the Object 140 on the enemy team. And then 2 kills went to the T30 on our team and a Tortoise on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it was the Leopard again with 1,309. 1,058 went to Oxagon, and they were the only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000, with the MX-M454 picking up 956. He fired 18 rounds, so he didn't even get through half of his ammunition in that game. 11 direct hits on the enemy, but no penetrations at all, and 18 splash. Damage of 3,756 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 3, so missed out on a Confederate by just 1, I'm afraid. 993 hit points of stun assist off 15 stuns. On a premium count, he earned 32,114 credits, 95,000 for mission completion, and after ammunition resupply and consumables took away 88,791 credits profit. 1,058 XP times 2 for the first victory, 3,174 experience points altogether. So 2 great games by Oxagon. I think, you know, this one he managed to get the Epic medal, the Gauze medal in. The previous one he got the Ace Tanker in, the one on Abbey. I think I would prefer, it's nice getting an Ace Tanker, but it's also nice getting a Gauze medal. And of those 2 battles, I think the battle on this map, on Steppes, was actually more comfortable because the enemy was at bay, and so he was actually able to keep shooting regardless. He didn't have to take into account or move away. In the Abbey battle, the enemy was actually coming towards him at one point. Well, it was coming towards him on this map as well. But the fact of the matter is, I think on the Abbey map, he chose the right firing position because he could get really good avenues of fire on that map to attack the enemy tanks. And it all worked in his favour. Plus, of course, it did help that he was supporting Soul Collector and also his the other teammate. Yes, it was Transy in the Waffenträger auf Panzer IV. But 2 great games. Well done. If you enjoyed those replays, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.